situation in Palestine is very difficult as we are under the Israeli occupation.
Ovo je najveće izdanje koje je konferencija do sad imala, koje ja pamtim. Možda je bilo nekih većih, ali još nikad nismo imali ovoliko ljudi, ovoliko učesnika, govornika. I prvi put zapravo radimo organizaciju, koprodukciju s drugom organizacijom, što je vrlo zanimljivo iskustvo, jer nismo morali sami razmišljati o cijelom programu, o organizaciji svega. Lijepo imati pomoć, tako da je to značajna razlika što se tiče ovog izdanja.
Trenutno imamo negdje preko 70 govornika i ja sam nabrojao 23 zemlje predstavljene samo u govornicima i plus još eventualno par dodatnih zemalja, znači skoro 30 zemalja i negdje preko 250 učesnika ove godine na Pointu.
The situation in Palestine is very difficult as we are under.
I think it's very similar in Lebanon in terms of corruption, and I think in both cases I'm not really aware of the Bosnian context a lot, but I've heard that its roots are political. It's a political will problem. It's not like an issue that is just now for like a few years and then it's gonna go away. It's very systematic and it's rooted corruption. And I think the histories of Lebanon and Bosnia are also kind of similar, because we're also like the division of power in politics is divided between religious sects. The quota system between parties, they always share parliament, they share the ministries and everything. So I think advocating for a rights-based and a more like an approach that is devoid from any religious or ethnic or any other kind of discrimination is necessary to build like a more socially just politics.
What we're trying to do here with the initiative is to make the differentiation before the content is produced, so in the process of the news creation, so to make sure that the higher standards are respected, so like having an editorial guidelines, training the journalists, making sure you have specific policy to respect the rules of ethical journalism. So we try to, with the initiative, to prevent from the maybe not so good journalism to be produced. So to have this kind of recipe for quality journalism.
Well, the situation in Palestine is very difficult. As you know, we are under the Israeli occupation, so Palestine is occupied by Israel. So the situation of a journalist is very complicated and very difficult to work. We suffer from many violations from the Israeli army. Many of our colleagues was shot and killed. My colleague Shireen Abu Aqle was killed last year. This shows how much we suffer on the ground in order to cover the truth.
In Lebanon at the moment, there's a huge unemployment, especially at the youth level. There's a lot of migration, especially of the educated youth. So the educated youth are leaving the country, and this is having very bad consequences on the industries and the economy and so forth. So I think at the moment the youth are having a very hard time in Lebanon because of the realities imposed on them by the current political leaders and the current, like the main political parties. So I think youth themselves were part of the 2019 uprising, and they participated politically in the process. And I think that if they keep reclaiming and trying to force themselves into the scene, this can create a positive impact on the country and on their situation and for prospects of the industries and so forth.
The situation in Palestine is very difficult as we are under the Israeli occupation.
Imamo nekoliko zanimljivih tema ove godine, stvarno bavili smo se narativima, najviše ovim narativima koji su vezani za invaziju Rusije na Ukrajinu. Onda smo se bavili zanimljivim temama kao što su podcasti, YouTube i slično sa našim partnerima iz Miksera iz Poljske. Otvorili smo temu koliko internet zagađuje okolinu i koliko je štetan za okoliš. Otvorit ćemo i temu nečega što je vrlo interesantno poslije ove godine, to je vještačka inteligencija i njeni socijalni, pravni i tehnološki aspekti, pa ćemo se baviti isto tako i borbom protiv dezinformacija, ali i temom kako se zapravo monetiziraju dezinformacije, odnosno kako taj cijeli biznis dezinformacija izgleda i kako zapravo ljudi na dezinformacijama zarađuju novac.
Mi u Catalyst Balkans verujemo da je digitalizacija jedan od najvažnijih alata za cijelo civilno društvo. Tako i kreiramo alate koji će nam pomoći da digitalnim rješenjima dođemo do naših podržavaoca, da im budemo bliži, da im bolje pomognemo i zagovaramo da i druge organizacije učine isto.
The situation in Palestine is very difficult as we are under the Israeli occupation.
I think youth are the ones that are most affected, or they are disproportionately affected by crisis, and we can see that by the migration of youth to other countries to search for opportunities, and such is the case in countries like Lebanon. So I think the youth have to organize in order to reclaim their rights and to build a better society for themselves and the ones around them, and to change the realities that were imposed on them.
Well, the young people in Palestine see that there's no hope for the future because the economical situation is very bad. There's large amount of unemployment in Palestine. The Palestinian economy is is suffering a lot from the political situation. So there's no hope. In order to change, you have to give the youth a hope in order to change on the ground. You have to give them the rights to move. You have to give them the right to speak. You have to give them all their rights, their needs, and you have to give them their own state to build their own future.
I think migration as a global issue has very historical roots. Like it dates from previous injustices and inequalities that are currently creating the state of affairs economically and socially. So I think there are two sides of it. The first is to recognize the historical roots of migration, and the second is the necessity for people in local context to organize to better their current conditions.
The situation in Palestine is very difficult as we are under the Israeli occupation.
Ono što mi vidjeli kroz 11 godina organizacije Point konferencije je da je najvažnija stvar zapravo su one stvari koje nastanu na Pointu, a to zajedničke saradnje, projekti, mreže, kooperacije i toga smo vidjeli dosta da pa ja mislim nekoliko stotina različitih saradnji, što individua, što organizacija, što većih mreža kroz Point. Uglavnom one nastanu u neformalnim dijelovima konferencije, nakon što neko čuje nečiju prezentaciju ili govor, nastanu saradnje i to je ono što je najvažnije. Mislim da upravo zbog tog neformalnog dijela komunikacije koji se online ne može ni napraviti, zapravo je bitno imati ovakve konferencije koje su uživo i koje okupljaju ljude zajedno na jednom mjestu.
Konferencija bilo kojeg tipa su sjajna prilika za upoznavanje, za umrežavanje, za razmjenu iskustava sa ljudima koji rade neke slične stvari ili neke potpuno drugčije stvari koje mogu biti korisne za ove stvari koje vi već radite. Tako da ovo meni do sad najdraža Point konferencija. Tak mi je treći put da sam na Pointu zapravo, da učestvujem u organizaciji, ali nekako ove godine sam imao priliku upoznat najviše ljudi.
I'm very happy that we're able to participate to Point. This is the second time we can join here, and I think they are doing an amazing job to gather people together from all the region, and the dialogue between countries and professionals is so important that it's a pleasure and also a necessity, I think, to be there and discuss all together.
Naše cijelo društvo cijelo bivše jugoslovensko društvo ima veliku istoriju filantropije i tako je preko zadužbina i sada fondacija. Definitivno postoji bolja i bolja situacija iz godine u godinu. Mi to i beležimo u našim izveštajima. Interesantno je da je za vreme korone bio zabeležen najveći pik davanja, dok mi nismo mogli da se međusobno upoznajemo, družimo i delimo iskustva. Zapravo COVID nas je spojio sve u jednoj nevolji i učinio da zajednički podržimo one kojima je pomoć stvarno potrebna. I sad posle par godina veoma teške situacije sa COVID-om, prvi put sam na ovoj konferenciji koja mi se jako dopada. Prvi put imam priliku da razgovaramo o ovakvim stvarima sa drugim mladim ljudima sa Zapadnog Balkana. Jasno je da svi imamo zajedničke probleme, ali zajedno možemo da dođemo i do rešenja.
Social and cultural activities can be very important to bring people together, but I think also political initiative is necessary to really organize parties that are capable of changing the dynamics of power and the imbalances between people who are poor and marginalized and those who are well off, which are usually 1 or 2% of the population. So I think social cultural activities are very important, but also political initiative is necessary.
Da, veoma je važna filantropija u našem društvu i naši izveštaji primećuju da postoji trend sve većeg davanja i građana i kompanija prema neprofitnom društvu.
The situation in Palestine is very difficult. My message is work on yourself, try hard to get a better life. Just search for opportunities. Don't stop. Try your best and work on yourself. When you work on yourself, you will be better and better in the future. Try to make connections with other people and try to work on your own projects, small projects. That is very important in order to make a recover for the situation, economical situation.
Mislim da mi više možemo da naučimo od mlađih generacija nego oni od nas. Oni nama pokazuju kako mi treba da se prilagođavamo novim dešavanjima, novim trendovima, modernim načinama. Tako da uključujemo mlade ljudi i trudimo se od njih da saznamo što više. A ako oni išto mogu da nauče od nas jeste da ne prave iste greške koje smo mi napravili.
Jedina stvar koju mogu reći mladim ljudima jeste da zapravo nauče kako misliti svojom glavom i da samo vjeruju u sebi i da realno provjeravaju svaku stvar koju vide u online svijetu nekoliko puta ukoliko im je bitna informacija koju ona nosi.